Hi there, this is Jacqueline with Nickel and Dime Decor. Thanks for joining me today. And today I want to talk to you about quilting my zigzag squares quilt. This is my backing, well this is my front, in case you forgot which one it is. Pretty zigzag squares. Well, I decided on just a solid red with it's got a little print to it. And you can see much more clearly on the back what I've started doing. I chose just to stitch in the ditch. And I'll tell you my reasoning. This quilt is got such a beautiful pattern to it when you hold it up, and I didn't want my quilting to take anything away from the pattern. And that's what you have to decide when you quilt something. Do you want your quilting to be the focal point, or do you want your pattern? Because a lot of times quilting is what you see with your eyes before you notice the pattern. So I chose stitch in the ditch so nothing really shows and nothing takes away from my pattern. Now stitch in the ditch is a pain in the butt. Let's be honest, it's kind of hard to do. But if you haven't ever done it before, when you're stitching, always start in the middle when you start quilting. In the very middle, as best you can, in the middle. Go all the way to the end, and then go over to the next row and start going this way, or that way. And then when all of that side's done, then you come and do this side. That way there's no distortion, and you keep it, everything is kept in line. Your edges will be even, everything will stay good. Now, when you start quilting, when you stitch in the ditch, let's find one that's halfway good. Take and sew and kind of pull back, and with one hand, kind of pull the seam back and stitch as close to that seam as you can. And then when it goes, it'll start laying back to its natural, it'll just kind of go back, and it's hidden. You can't see that stitch in the ditch. That's the idea of doing a stitch in the ditch. You can't see it if you do it right. And most of the time I did, but sometimes it's quite noticeable that I didn't. That stitch is on the red and it should have been on the yellow. And I stitched it on the opposite side. But you know what? It does not matter. A quilt this size, and people looking at it, they're not going to see none of those discrepancies. Never. So, that's what I've done, and I've only, it looks really nice on the back. On the couple of places that I've already got all of it up and down, all the way down on both sides and top and bottom. By saying top and bottom, I mean this half and this half. Now here is where I've started going across, and you can see I'll be forming my squares, and it's going to look real nice on the back side. Now these little white knots, I cannot do a thing about that because I am quilting on the top with an off, it's kind of an ecru thread. And when my machine will do a back and forth stitch before it starts to secure it. And this is what it does. It makes a little knot and it brings up that ecru color. And I can't cut it close because it's where it's knotted and I want it secure. So if I would have used red on top and red on the bottom, that wouldn't have happened, or vice versa if you use cream and cream. But I used red in the bobbin and the ecru on top, and so that's what happened. It's just every once in a while, but it's, you know, it's there and I can't do anything about it. Now, like I say, you want, when you're going to start, that's why I pick in the middle and go all the way to the end, so I don't have to cut my threads, or, you know, I want it very secure. So I start at the middle, go all the way to the bottom, and then I go back and forth and secure it. So it's it's just the case with every quilt that you're going to do. When it comes to the quilting, you have to decide, do I want my quilting to shine out, or do I want my pattern? And that's what you have to decide. Now, most of us, I know there's a lot of women that can long arm and do a fantastic job. But I bet you 60%, maybe even 75%, do not have a long arm machine. We don't have a $10,000, $12,000 machine. So this is workable and doable and a nice way to quilt your quilt. No problem whatsoever. So don't think you can't quilt your own. Now, if you can afford $300, $350 and on up to have it long arm quilt by somebody, more power to you, but I can't do that. So this is what I do. Now, my next quilt, the quilting might be totally something else. It might need something else. Stitch in the ditch might not be the answer. Every quilt is different, and that's what makes quilting so much fun. And my border, my binding is going to be this red. I'm going to have enough of it once I trim this, and I've got some more. And then I'm going to sew it on the back and bring it to the front and sew it on my machine. Because this lady has waited long enough for this, and I need to get it to her. So I'm almost home free. And then I just have a baby quilt to do by November, and a nephew wants a quilt. So I will just have 2 in the works after this one. So, okay, I think that's it for today. I sure do appreciate you coming, and I hope this was a good quilting lesson. And it's when I get it all totally done, I will do one more video on it and show you the finished product. Now, I always wash my quilts before I give them to anyone, but this red is really bothering me, and I don't know if I'm gonna wash it or not. I think she would be better off taking it to the cleaners. There's enough white in here that I just don't know. Oh, I would hate to take a chance and do it and it ruined it. I would be, oh my. So I don't think she's gonna get it washed. Okay, Have a wonderful day, or the rest of the day, or the beginning of the day, whenever you're watching this. God bless. Take care.